Welcome to episode 8 of the Aligned and Confident Dating Podcast. I am your host, Colette Gallagher, and today's topic is what makes a man husband material. Here are 10 things that make a guy husband material. Number 1, you have similar life goals and life plans. This one's kind of obvious, right? Because if you're planning to be an entrepreneur and travel the world, and his life plan is to have a corporate job and wants to be a part of a big company and work 9 to 5, then you might have to travel by yourself. Or children is a big one. If you want 2 or 3 kids and he doesn't want kids, then it's not going to work out. So these are really important things to discuss, right in the beginning, within the first month of dating, and not necessarily because that this guy is going to be your husband, but just because you want to rule out people really quickly. You don't want to fall in love with someone and then 6 months down the line you realize he doesn't want children and you do, or vice versa. You definitely want to talk about these things, your 5-year plan, what your ideal life looks like. So maybe you're not there right now. And so right now, you're working towards your goals, you're working towards your dreams. And so it's really important to talk about where you want to be in 5 to 10 years. And those are great, fun things to talk about anyway in the first few dates because you're getting to know them as a friend. And so it's fun to talk about these things and get to know each other like that. The second thing is you want someone who supports you, right? And not just financially, but actually supports you as a person. So when you're telling them about your goals and your dreams and your plans, if they're looking at you like you're crazy, then it's probably not going to work, right? So if they're encouraging you and they're like, wow, that's really amazing, that's great, then he's more husband material. So my love is so supportive. He's so wonderful. And when I tell him things, when I tell him about workshops I want to do, or when I tell him pretty much anything, he's just like, wow, that's so amazing, babe. Like, what can I do to help you? Like, my love is so helpful, and it's just such a nice thing. I remember when I did a vision board workshop a year ago. It was my first one, and I was super nervous. And he held my hand and walked in with me. It's little things like that that having a life partner um, to support you just makes such a difference in your life. And if your guy isn't supportive of your hopes and dreams and goals and aspirations, then he's probably not husband material. A husband is a life partner. It's good. It's like your best friend. I like to say, like, I have a sleepover party with my best friend every night because that's really like when you're with the right person, that's how it feels. I love telling my partner about my day and how things went, and if I have challenges, then he listens and then gives me feedback. He's just always so supportive. And so that's really what you want to look for in a husband, is someone who's just like super supportive of what you're doing, who's like, a partner, someone who's gonna hold your hand and walk with you. Just making sure that he's just supportive and encouraging. Number 3 is there's no control, there's no manipulation. He is not, checking up on you all the time. You don't want to feel like you're living in a prison if you get married. Like, my love, he asks me what I'm doing, he asks me where I'm going, but it's not like, oh, where are you going? Who are you going with? It's just like, oh, I'd really like to know what you're doing just to make sure that you're safe. Because men are very protective, but there's a difference between being protective and controlling. And so, like, my partner is very protective. He wants to make sure that I'm safe. He wants to know that I got places okay. He wants to know, things like that. But he's not like, oh, you can't go or don't go. He doesn't make me feel bad for doing things that I want to do. So you want to be with someone who you feel like free with. You feel free to live your life. You don't feel like you have to be with this person or he's gonna make you feel bad about wanting to do what you want to do. You don't want someone like checking your emails and your texts all the time, and that goes both ways, right? So there's got to be trust in a relationship, and especially in someone that you're thinking about marrying. You want to trust this person, and so if you have these gut feelings, this intuition that things aren't right, then just take a step back and reevaluate before you decide if you want to get married. Number 4, can he handle your emotions? And can he handle when you ask him things? Or does he take it super personally and get upset when you're upset? So this is interesting because I've had this happen both ways with my partner. So there's times where like I'm just mad and I'm upset about things. He's super calm and he's like, okay, what's going on? Like, tell me how you're feeling. And so I totally will. And then we talk it through. And then there's been times where I've been upset about things and he thinks I'm like blaming him for my feelings, which I don't do. Like, I always take personal responsibility for all of my feelings. And so then I like kind of have to walk them through it and say like, wait a second, I'm not blaming you for anything. This is how I feel. And I think that is really helpful to make sure that your partner knows that you're just telling them how you feel and they're allowed to feel a certain way and they don't have to feel like you feel, and it's okay. And so maybe like you went to a party and something happened and maybe you're feeling upset, and so you've had a chance to kind of walk through your feelings and understand what happened, and now you're able to tell your partner how you're feeling in a nice, like, this is how I feel manner. And without making them feel like you're blaming them for anything or that they did something wrong, because I think that's kind of like a human nature thing. Like, once you start telling someone like, oh, I'm really upset about this, they take it as like, oh, you're blaming me for this, or I did something wrong, and so they start to get defensive. And so if that happens, instead of turning it into this big fight where there's just like this misunderstanding, walking them through it like, oh, wait a second, I'm not blaming you for this. I'm not saying you did anything wrong. I'm just telling you this is how I feel about the situation. Having them be able to handle that and have like mature discussions about feelings is super important if you're going to get married, because if you're both starting to play this like blame game of like, oh, like I'm mad at you and you were wrong, and then they're like, no, I wasn't wrong, like I can't believe you feel this way, then it's just like this crazy explosion, and that's not a fun relationship at all. Just making sure that you guys are able to have different emotions and have different feelings about the same situation, and always remember that it's you each other versus the problem instead of you against each other having a problem. Number 5 kind of goes with number 4, but they're able to communicate effectively. And so are they able to ask for what they want in a way that isn't like immature or manipulative? Are they able to be direct with you and say, hey, I am doing this, just letting you know, this is what I need right now, this is what I want. And again, freedom goes both ways. And so if you want freedom on your end, you're gonna want to give your partner freedom as well. And so just remembering, you guys are partners, you're life partners. Like, you're not there to control or try to manipulate your partner. You're not there to be their mom, and tell them what to do, because that's not going to work. You really want someone that can tell you how they're feeling without, withdrawing, because men tend to withdraw a lot, which is okay. They need that time. But then once they're done withdrawing, are they able to come back and tell you how they were feeling about things? So this is really important because you don't want to try to like guess what they were mad about, right? It's not fun. Number 6, is he responsible? And so if you're going to marry someone, you want to make sure this person's responsible. Do they pay their bills? Do they go to work? Do they do what they say they're going to do? Because if you get married, like, you become responsible for their bills. And so it's really important that you marry someone who is responsible with things, and and not just with money, but with life in general, with friends, with returning things. I mean, little things like that. It's important to notice how they are, if they are responsible with their life, because if you do end up getting married and having children, you want someone who's going to, be able to take the kids to school on time and things like that. And so you want to make sure that you're marrying someone who is responsible for what they already have, because that's going to be a good indication of how they're going to be in the future. So number 7, how to tell if a guy is husband material, is, do you enjoy each other's company? So a lot of times we start off all hot and heavy and bothered, and we're like really attracted to the person, and it's like there's a lot of passion, and you're so busy enjoying each other's passion, enjoying each other passionately, that maybe you're not really paying attention to the times where you're actually just talking. So are you able to just sit and talk and have conversations and do things together and just really enjoy each other's company? Because, theoretically, you're going to be with this person for the next, 40 to 100 years, maybe even longer with the way modern medicine is going now and technology. You might be with this person for a very, very long time, and looks fade, people change, and it's just important that you just like their company in general. You just want to be around them, and you feel like you love them, you're in love with them, and you just want to be with them. And it's fun to be around them, and it's fun to talk to them, and it's just, yeah, like, it's an enjoyable experience to be with this person. Again, some of these seem super obvious, but I feel like after 6 months to a year, when communication starts to break down and you're really just not enjoying each other's company anymore, people stay together because they have this like loyalty or commitment, and you don't want to like go into marriage if you're already feeling like you can't stand the person or you feel like you just don't even like them as a person. So just cut your losses and walk away if you get to that point, or even close to that point. And it is possible to reset the relationship. So I mean, if in general they seem like a good match, there are things you can do. But that being said, like, if you're not married and you're just like miserable around that person, just like at least back off, like, don't even think about marrying the person until you start enjoying the person's company again and enjoying talking to them. Number 8 is, how do you feel around the guy? Like, how do you feel when you're with him? And this kind of goes along with enjoying the company, but like, do you feel loved? Do you feel supported? Do you feel like comfortable? Do you feel like you're hanging out with your best friend? Do you feel like excited to see them when they come in the door? So these are just things to think about, after you've been with someone for a while and you're kind of like, okay, is this person someone I want to marry? Like, how do you feel when you think about them? How do you feel when they're around you? And because a lot of times we'd rather be with someone that's not that great so that we're not lonely. And so that's not, that you'd rather not feel that great and be with someone than be miserable alone. But let me tell you, it's a lot better to be miserable alone than with this person that you don't feel great around for the next 100 years, right? So again, if you don't like feel really good and happy and excited around the person, just like, he's not husband material. Number 9, your friends and family like him. So this one's kind of, I don't know, controversial, because obviously it's more important that you like him. So if your friends and family love him and you don't like him, then don't marry him. Because it doesn't matter. Your friends and family don't have to wake up with him every morning, right? And the snoring and whatever. But that being said, a lot of times our friends and family can see things that we don't want to see. They can see like the criticism that we're trying to ignore. They can see the like him not being kind, that we're trying, like the things that we're trying not to see, our friends and family will see it. And so if your friends and family are telling you like, hey, this person, I don't like them for you, and like, they're just, I don't think this is the right person, really take that into consideration, because your friends and family are the people that love you the most. And so if you're finding that you're losing friends left and right because like you're complaining about this guy, or maybe they just don't want to be around you too because this guy is like such a jerk, or maybe he's just like a jerk in general, right? And you're just like, oh, he's a diamond in the rough, right? And you're trying to ignore all of these things. Maybe just take a second look, right? Because if it's like one person who doesn't like him, like, okay, whatever. But if it's like a lot of people and they're telling you kind of the same thing, like, really just take it into consideration, and maybe take a step back and rethink the marriage. Because I mean, you're probably going to want to spend holidays together. You're probably going to want to you know do your family trips, and it's going to be a lot more comfortable if your friends and family like him, instead of like having to like lose all your friends and family to be with this person, which narcissists do that. So that is definitely like a red flag. If you do notice that you're having to choose him, like he's making you choose between him and your friends and family, that's like an abusive pattern, like a way to isolate you, to start an abusive relationship. So huge red flag if your friends and family don't like him, or if he like doesn't want you hanging out with friends and family. Last but not least, he meets all of your non-negotiables. So one of the first things that I have my clients do is get clarity on exactly what it is that they're looking for, and really start to think about all of their non-negotiables, all of the traits and things that they want in a partner, and then narrow it down to a five to 10 things that are non-negotiables. So maybe that is smoking. If you don't smoke and you want a partner who doesn't smoke, maybe that's like one of your non-negotiables. That's one of mine. I cannot stand cigarette smoke. So does he meet all of your non-negotiables? And are you, and just, it's just really important that you're not compromising. And um obviously the non-negotiables have to be realistic, but you don't want a list of 100 non-negotiables and then he doesn't meet all of them. That's not really realistic. But if you have like 5 things that are just super important to you and he doesn't meet them, then he's obviously not husband material for you. Because yeah, you don't want to compromise. This is someone, again, you're going to be with for a very, very long time. And that being said, there's no reason to rush into a marriage. A lot of people, like, it's like a checklist, right? Like, go to college, get married, have kids, buy a house. There's like this like American dream checklist. But there's no like a rush, no one's telling you that you have to have it all done. And I didn't meet my partner until I was 37. So I mean, there's really like no hurry. And I think it's important that you really do take your time and really think about marriage. It's a huge commitment, because not only are you committing yourself basically for the rest of your life to be this person's life partner, but you're also going to be like financially obligated for any debt that they have. There's a lot of just heartbreak and negative consequences to divorces. And so it's just really important that you really think about all of these things before you decide if you really do want to marry this person. And I'm not discouraging marriage because, I really think that it's awesome that it really does, with the right person, like it really does make life better. But that being said, it has to be the right person. So there you go. That is my 10 things for what makes a guy husband material. And I hope you found this helpful. I have some really great free gifts on my website at ColetteGallagher.com. Just go to the free stuff, and I would love to have you grab those things. Also, join my free Facebook group and ask me your questions. I love answering questions about relationships and dating. And so I would love to see you there. If you are local in San Diego, I teach yoga classes for manifestation in Mission Bay. I also do energy clearing. So it's a new year. It's a great time to get clear for the new year and have your bars run and let go of all of your old energy that's keeping you stuck and your old patterns that are keeping you stuck. And it's just a great time to get ready to meet your partner. So I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope to see you soon, either in person or somewhere online in my Facebook group or something like that. All right, I will see you next time.